Johnson has survived a lifetime in the often dangerous world of motorsport. It made him a wealthy man, with millions in the bank and his own racing team. At 68, Dick should be living off the spoils of his hard work. Instead, he's broke, conned out of his fortune.
I'm broke, I'm busted, and I'm well and truly in the I've been conned out of about $9 million. The only thing that pulls you through those situations, to be quite honest, is family.
It's a jet if you could.
For many Australians, Dick Johnson is still the king of motorsport.
Oh, we got the little one as well. There we go.
And as these adoring fans show, the 68-year-old can still draw a crowd.
Awesome. Beautiful.
But tonight we'll hear how it all went wrong. The lost millions, the stress, the booze, and a heartbreaking family split.
They're racing, and Johnson lights up the tires.
Back in the 80s, when Australian car manufacturing was thriving, there was really only two choices: Ford or Holden, Johnson or Brock.
Johnson puts his nose in front.
It was a rivalry that divided a nation. You could only like one or the other, never both.
Look, it was fantastic, you know, because I was obviously the guy who did things totally different to Brock. He was the factory man and I was just the guy that worked out of home.
Which car's your favourite?
Well, to me, favourite car is anyone that won a race. And
Dick Johnson's most famous cars are on display at his museum and workshop at Stapleton near the Gold Coast. Among them, the Green Stuff Falcon that won him an Australian title but almost claimed his life.
Oh, he's hit the fence and he's gone off the track into a tree.
These cars were Dick's ultimate possession, preserved like time capsules from another era in the exact condition from their final race.
Are they original sheepskin covers in there?
genuine skinny sheepskin covers, mate, like every good vehicle should have.
But these grand trophies are now tinged with a sadness almost too great to bear. Dick had to sell them, all of them, to stay afloat.
How hard was it to have to lose these?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun, mate.
With creditors at his door, Dick made the heart-wrenching decision to sell all of his most famous cars, including the 3 Bathurst winners, for just $1.1 million.
What do you think the cars would be worth now?
Well, the only real value you could put on them is loads, really, isn't it? You know,
they're priceless.
They're pretty special.
Their new owner did a deal allowing Dick to borrow a few vehicles at a time for the fans to come and see.
He allows us to have the cars back here, and we swap them around on occasions, just depending, and it's because really the place is nothing without them.
And that's not all he's lost. The boat is now just a memory, the waterfront home is now owned by the bank, and $4 million in cash savings has disappeared.
I'm broke, I'm busted, and I'm well and truly in the simple as that.
So how did it all go so wrong? Dick Johnson retired in 1999 as a hero to Ford lovers, a legend of the sport, and owner of a financially strong racing team bearing his name. But when the finance and property company West Point collapsed in 2006, it cost the Dick Johnson racing team a $12 million sponsorship.
After the West Point one went out and we got very little funds from them, we started to find that we were going backwards, and backwards in a hurry.
Desperate for sponsorship dollars, he was convinced to merge his business with a mortgage and telecom startup. Both went bust. His new business partners filed for bankruptcy, and Dick was left to sell his personal assets to keep the team afloat.
Bad business partners, certainly, and certainly bad management, and complete and utter stupidity on my part that I didn't take a much bigger part in seeing what the financials of the business were doing.
The Dick Johnson Racing Team workshop is the only asset he still owns. Protected as part of his super fund, it's rent his only income. After servicing a mountain of debt, he lives off $350 per week.
See, my wife has put up with an awful lot of stuff over that period of time, and the only thing that pulls you through those situations, to be quite honest, is family.
It's been tough on both of us, but luckily we've got each other, and we sort of seem to manage to get through all that. It's not bad too.
Jill Johnson has seen firsthand the toll it's taken on her husband of 43 years and his obsession with keeping the team alive.
I'd like to have a bit more time off. I think the two of us need a little bit of a break here and there, but he loves this so much and he'd be lost if he didn't have this.
Dick has always run his racing team as a family business, son Steve taking over behind the wheel.
Clouds, that will put Stephen Johnson in the race lead.
But earlier this year, family loyalties were tested to the limit when Dick was forced to sack his son for a driver who could bring in more sponsorship dollars.
I don't know how you sit down and tell somebody, listen mate, you're not fired, but you know, we can't afford, the team cannot afford to be in a situation to be able to put you in a seat for this year.
A titanium knee and hip are the major physical scars of years of high-performance racing. But that's nothing compared to the mental anguish brought on by his financial woes.
Stress is an unbelievable thing. To be quite honest, it'll probably end up killing me.
At its worst, the stress even forced him to turn to alcohol for relief.
Not that it really cured any of the problems, but at least it sort of gave you some, I suppose, relief from what the next day was going to be.
Dick's probably too trustworthy. He trusts people, and that's gotten into a lot of trouble over the years.
James Phelps is the chief motorsport writer with News Corp Australia, who's helped Dick Johnson chronicle the ups and downs of a 48-year career in his new warts and all autobiography. But he warns nobody should be writing him off just yet.
You know, this guy didn't have his first race win till he was 36. He was battling around and everyone said he couldn't do it, and he went on to win 5 championships, you know, after the age of 36. Now he's got this race team, and one thing he's not going to do is quit. He's not a quitter.
And he didn't quit on his staff either. If he'd taken the easy option of bankruptcy, these 30 loyal employees would be out on the street.
Those people to me are like family, and never once have they ever been in a situation where they have not been paid.
He sacrificed a lot to keep this place going, and it is still going.
Roy McDonald has been working side by side with Dick for the past 3 decades.
But he has gone into the fence.
He was there the day Dick ran into a rock, destroying a big lead at Bathurst when he was a virtual unknown.
Believe me, I'll be back. But by geez, I won't be back here until they get that fence up, I tell you.
The 30-kilo rock is now on display at his museum, the incident making him a household name after race fans donated the 80 grand needed to rebuild the True Blue Falcon. All he asks this time around is for those same fans to keep supporting the team.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to make it, because let me tell you something, I'm not a quitter.
No, he's not. And Dick Johnson's autobiography is released on August the 1st. Details are on our website.